Hi guys, it's Emily from Novelle Novels and welcome to today's video. This is my April wrap-up part 1. I'll remember part 1 in a minute. Now it's been a crazy half the month. Somehow I have managed to read a lot, but I've got stuff going on down this end, so I'm quite between half term, Thomas's birthday, not half term, Easter holidays, Thomas's birthday, my own health's been playing up with my joints. Like all my joints are hurting at the moment, so it's actually I need to actually use my cushion because my wrist is hurting, my elbow's hurting, both wrists are hurting, both elbows are hurting, my knee, my hips, just all of me is uncomfortable at the moment. And I managed to get sunburn on Saturday. That was a bit stupid, wasn't it? But yeah, so my health's been a bit not 100%. Routines have been off, and with me, I do not cope well with routines not happening. So I've been hiding in my books big time. And I've been obsessed with the Women's Prize. So I've read 3 more books for the Women's Prize. One was an ebook, and I'll tell you about that in a minute. And then the other 2 are physical ones, and they were good. And I've got some more books. So I'm going to obviously run through the books that I've read this month and show you the ones that I'm adding to the TBR. And I've gone back to the library. I've got 2 books from the library. But the positive news is where I've been reading a lot, it's meant that because I've had shorter books this month as well, which has been really good. I've read 17 books, and that was as of yesterday, which was the 16th. Hopefully I'll be able to read today's book in a day, which will make me 18 books on the 15th if I can keep myself up. If not, I'll be reading that tomorrow, so that'll be 18 books on the 16th. So I'm 2 books ahead. But 2 of the books that I'm reading as well at the moment are big books. So the 2 of the ones that I'm starting with are big books, so that'll feel like an achievement. Today I start my buddy read of Set on You by Amy Lee, which I'm reading with the lovely Cat from Brews and Reviews. Not too long. I'm starting that today. I'm starting Desert Dawn, which is my non-fiction book for peopleapril. That's only about 200 pages. So that's the book that I'm aiming to read today. So it should have been read by the time this goes live. I've not got any more tandem or any more read-along books, so that's going to take the pressure off. But I want to get some physical books going. I am challenging myself, by the way, just to give you a heads up. Next Wednesday, I'm going to challenge myself and catch a train to Woking, which is my nearest town, on my own, and buy some books at the charity shop on my own. Not many, because after March being a bit of a, you obviously saw my massive book haul, I bought a lot. And also because I'm walking to the train station, catching the train, walking up the hill to Wokingham, it's a lot of walking, so I'm not going to be physically trying to buy as many, but the thing was, I wanted to tackle my anxiety. I wanted to try and challenge myself to do something that I've not done in probably near on 20 years. I think it's been about at least 20 years since I caught the train to Wokingham on my own. There are reasons behind that, partly because that was where I was working when I had my accident a long time ago, and a job that I worked on when I was working there set off another episode of PTSD, and I was in a very bad place. So I haven't caught a train there on my own for over 20 years because of my connections with that. So I'm going to be tackling my anxiety and doing that next week. So yes, I won't be reading as much that day, but I'm going to be doing something that I didn't think possible. I wanted to do these things for the Spoonies readathon to show you guys that you can live with disability. So anyway, rambling on, let's show you what I'm currently reading. So the book that I started last night is The Butterfly Room by Lucinda Riley. It's a multi-generational book. It's got Posy Montague. We start off set in the 1940s. Then we've got a current timeline in the 2000s, because obviously this is one of our older books. And then I don't know what other timelines there are. I will look into it, but I'll be able to tell you more at the end. But there are really good characters in this. Oh, there's another timeline in 1955. So this doesn't look like it's as old a fiction, but it's in the 1900s. But there's different timelines, multi-generational saga. It looks like a really big me book, and I'm already loving it. You know I love Lucinda Riley. And then obviously I'm over halfway through The Crimson Petal and the White by Michael Faber. This is my big books, and I'm surprisingly really thinking it's really good. I don't know if it's 5-star, and I will only read I'm reading like 100 pages once a week, and that's actually working with this book because I'm not losing interest. It's gripping enough that I don't forget what I'm reading, so I will be finished out at the end of the month, but it's actually a lot better than I thought it would be. I'm reading this probably the Wednesday, and then I'll finish off on next week. But yeah, this is actually a lot better than I thought it would be. So that's that one. I can go and put that away. So that's what I'm currently reading. Now to tell you what I've read. So I'm also, like I said, I'm doing People April at the moment and Tackle Your TBR readathon. What was it? Was it Tackle Your TBR? Katie's readathon. My brain is not going. What did I say Katie's readathon was? Oh yeah, TBR Clear Out readathon. So yeah, I'm doing Katie's. This was for the prompt of a book that you thought you'd lost interest in, and this is the Leo Tolstoy's The Croatia Sonata and Other Stories. Now, I rated this 3 stars, but there are some of the stories that I really, really loved. So, like, I think the first story was Family Happiness. I thought that was like 4 or 5 stars. That was really, really good, and I really enjoyed that. Then there was the Croatia Sonata, and I didn't think that didn't really grip me amazingly. God, sorry, I got an itch. I'm not sitting myself in a comfortable position. Then the next story was, what was it? The Devil. That was really good. So whether this should be 3 stars or 3.5, I'm not sure. I did love The Devil, and I loved that family one, but the Croatia Sonata and then the last one, Further Sergius, they just didn't grip me enough. So if I was rating each story separately, then this would have had a high rating. Certain stories would have had a high rating. But for a short story book, I actually had 2 of the short stories that I really enjoyed. And that is a massive, massive triumph. So I definitely recommend Leo Tolstoy's short stories because his writing is really good and actually has made me want to look at his bigger books again. Because I really did enjoy a couple of the short stories. So if that's 3 stars, that's a good 3 stars. I think it's 3/4, I think. I'm still not sure. Don't know whether to change my rating. Then to the next 3 stars, which is The Day at the Beach. That's my other short story collection, and that is one of the books for... Let's see, what prompt did I put this for? See, I'm really not organised today, am I? Let's see, what did I put this for? I put that for... Read a book that's been on your TBR for a very long time. That has been on my TBR a very, very long time. Again, it's short stories, and it's got recipes in it. Again, some of the short stories I liked, some of them I didn't like. That's been put by for Mum, because it has got some good recipes in it as well. I need to maybe take pictures of the recipes. So that's my mummy pile. And then the other 3-star was my ebook, which I'm going to start to remember to put my ebooks and audiobooks in here. And that's Restless Dolly Maunder by Kate Grenville. That is probably 3 stars, and that was and even if that's the 3 stars, I think that was shocking. It's my lowest on my rankings from the Women's Prize books at the moment. I read it on ebook, so because I read it on ebook, the pages were longer, and it was my first ebook that I've read in ages. But it has made me want to go back to ebooks at some point. Well, I'll wait until I've tackled my TBR a bit more. But it's boring. It really was the story of Dolly Maunder, and apparently that's partly autobiographical. It's an alright book. It just wasn't amazing. Everyone else found it boring. It was a boring, boring book. But I read it, and it's historical fiction. It's set in Australia. It was an alright book. When I do my rankings, I probably will do a rankings of the Women's Prize when I've read them all. When I've read as many of them as I can. So that might be an extra video in May or June. I don't know yet. But that's the lowest on the ranking. But I did read it. And I've read 4 now ebooks, and I've got 2 more to read. 4 Women's Prize books. Then to the one that I think disappointed me a bit, and that's Ben Miller's The Day I Fell Into a Fairy Tale. I don't know if that's because this is a middle grade, but it's a younger middle grade. And I think that's why I only rated it 3.5 stars, because it's a very young middle grade. But it does talk about fairy tales. It's a fairy tale retelling. It is fun. Lana and her brother Harrison, they end up falling into the fairy tales, literally. And it is a fun book. Read it in a day. Really easy, but definitely younger end of the middle grade. So not one that I'm going to be keeping. But those are the only ones that weren't amazing. Other than that, I've had all my books I've had 4 4-stars, 5 4.5 stars so far, and 5 5-stars. How amazing is my reading month going? This is better than March, which I thought, but God, I hope it's going to carry on that way. Because I never save amazing books for the second half. I always try and read my amazing books. So I'm kind of scared. I might end, you never know, I might, because I'm always reluctant to put the great books added on to the second half of my TBR, because I don't know how many people are going to watch this video and how many people are going to see it, and I get all flappy. So I need to challenge myself. I need to get out of that headspace. But yeah, so far it's going amazingly. There is one or two that could be 5 stars on that pile. I wonder. I'll have to wait and see. Anyway. So the first 4 stars is my Agatha Christie, and that is Peril at End House. Obviously I'm keeping this because I'm keeping all my Agatha Christies. And that was a book that Alice picked for me, and that was one of my seasonal books. And it is a good book. It's an Agatha Christie good book, but it's not my favourite. It is a Doodle, called Poirot book. And it's about, obviously, the end house, and I kind of predicted a bit the killer, and I did kind of predict a bit more. It was good, Agatha Christie good, but if I compare it to my favourite Agatha Christie's, like Five Little Pigs and things, it's not as good as that. So, it was good, but I'm keeping that anyway. And then to my next one that's 4 stars, and I rated Reputation 5 stars, but Infamous for me was quite 4 stars, because I kind of predicted a bit as the twist in this, and I didn't like some of the characters in it. LGBTQI romance, Regency romance, fun book. I'm loving Lick Scrouch's work, but it's probably, I didn't enjoy this as much as I enjoyed Reputation. So I'm wondering if I like the next one, Trouble, as much as I liked Reputation. I don't know yet. But this was good. Fun Lex Croucher, LGBTQI, historically, like Regency romance with a twist. It's got some it's got a lot of laughs in it. Bit of like baddies, but yeah, it wasn't quite as good as Reputation in my eyes. Just not quite, but I'm keeping it, so that's obviously got to be good. Then to another book. What is it with my series books that they've not been as good as the other ones? And this is Record of a Spectator's Baseball Few. And I've read A Long Way to a Small Angry Planet. That was 5 stars. I read A Closed and Common Orbit. That was 5 stars. This was 4. And this, I think this was 4 because there was a lot of characters and a lot of different storylines. And I think that's what knocked it down a star. Again, the writing's amazing. Becky Chambers is great. And this does very loosely connect to The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet. But I felt like A Closed and Common Orbit connected better. And I found that was better because it only had 2 characters. Whereas this has a lot of characters and a lot of different storylines. So I did get a little bit lost. Some of the storylines, and they do connect, but they probably connect a bit later. And I didn't kind of get it as much. And there were some of the storylines that I liked. But this was brilliant. It's an amazing series. It just wasn't quite as good as the other 2 in my eyes. Then to my next book, and next 4 stars, and that is I Am Malala. And this is a book, even though it's a 4 stars autobiography, and this is one I think everyone should read. It is my peopleapril book, and it's one that I really do feel like everyone should read. And that is the girl who stood up for education and was shot by the Taliban. She is an amazing person. Even though it's 4 stars, it's just because I really struggle to give non-fiction 5 stars. But this is an incredible book, and it's one I definitely feel like everyone should read. I might even keep it for Mia. No, she probably won't read it, but I hope in one day she'll like to read something like this and learn about education and Taliban. Whereas at the moment all she wants to do is go on her Xbox. But this was inspired the film He Named Me Malala, and this is an incredible inspirational story. And it is about the Taliban, and it does tackle very big things, and there was a lot of triggers in this, but it's a very well written book, and what this girl did changed a lot of things, and she did an amazing work, so definitely recommend it. Then to another one. This was the last in the trilogy of The Rose and the Promise by Katie Flynn, and another one that if you compare it to the other 2 books in the series, it wasn't as good, and I predicted again some of the twists. I don't know if my experience in booktube is meaning that I'm predicting things a lot easier. But this is the 3rd book. I can't really talk about it too much. There is a lead character that dies. I can't tell you who, because again, it's a spoiler. And Katie, the person who wrote this book, the author literally said she needed to show that one person needed to die, because in the war, lots of people did die. Not everyone came out of it alive. This is good, and it does have a lovely ending, and it is a brilliant... It's not the ending you expect. It does have a lovely ending. It was really, really good, and certain bits of this will... Oh, heads up, certain bits of this, if you have read the other 2 books in the series, you can read this for the Spoonies readathon, if you've read the other 2 books. So that is one thing I can tell you. I think, actually, is there any other ones in this that you can read for the Spoonies? Not yet. There is another book that you can read for the Spoonies, but I'll tell you that in a minute. And then, now to my 4.5 stars, which again are amazing books. I think I'm going to use the first one to let Mum read the first one. And this is The Lost Lives of Frances Langley. Chris Fort gave me that years ago. And I think, did that count for Katie's readathon? Why am I need to, what I need to do. No, I didn't have that one for Katie's readathon. I had the Butterfly Room and Desert Dawn, which I'm reading currently. The Crucial, the Beach Up, but yeah, anyway. Yes, this one was my seasonal books, I think. And this is Love Holds the Key to a Lifetime of Secrets. This is, again, it's very good, very well written. Definitely a book that I'm going to look for. I would recommend to people. If you like historical fiction, like bits about the war, but there is some icky bits in this, but it was really good. In a small village in southern France, a willful English girl falls in love. Frances Langley has fallen under Benoit's romantic spell. Bear in mind, she's only like 15, 16. And something happens, and she ends up hiding a precious artifact stolen by the Nazis. And you've got two timelines. You've got the past timeline set about sort of 16, 17 years ago. And then you've got Francis' son in the current timeline, and she finds herself packing up the clutter of his mum's life because she was a hoarder. And that part is really interesting, that she's a hoarder and she keeps a lot of things. Harry's a lovely character. There are some triggers in this that I didn't expect, so please, if you want to read this, let me know and I will tell you the triggers. Very, very good book. One I definitely recommend Mum would read. But yeah, it was really good. 4.5 stars, but really good. Now to a book that surprised me. Like, I'm not into thrillers at the moment. You guys know I've had a really thriller slump. I've not read any that I've liked. I've really been disappointed. I've got a few more up there, so I've unhauled a few. And then Danny from Danny's Book World said about trying this one, and that is A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. A lot of people have read this and loved it, and I thought, nice, YA, thriller, mystery, didn't think it's for me, but oh my goodness, this totally surprised me. It was 4.5 stars, almost 5, but there is something happens in this too, something that, yeah, bit of a, it's a no-go on this. And again, I did predict a little bit of the twists in this, but I couldn't predict the killer completely. It's 4/4.5 stars. It was really good. I read it in a day. I cannot wait to read the second in the series. I now need As Good as Bad Dead, the third book. So I'm going to probably get that from the works, maybe this week or next week. But yeah, I may get that because I want the third book urgently now. I need it because I need to keep the series. It's about the case is closed. 5 years ago, a schoolgirl, Auntie Bell, was murdered by Sal Singh. The police know he did it. Everyone in town knows he did it. But Pippa Fitz-Amobi isn't sure. She doesn't believe he did. Bloody good. Scary at points, but not too scary. YA, thriller, mystery. Flipping amazing. Absolutely loved it. Read it in a day. Yeah, I need to carry on with that series. Then to the book that I read for the tandem read along. So it is an ad PR product, and I've read it, and I've done my review on Instagram, Goodreads, everywhere bloody else. And this is The Promise of Rain by Lucinda Taylor. This is brilliant. It's 4.5 stars, and it's a very, very good book. I do wonder if I rated it slightly higher because it was a tandem ad PR product, and I felt that I should. Looking back, I'm thinking it is more of a 4-star because, like, the author was saying that I should understand. Basically, on her 13th birthday, Anna Coates has accepted that she's got some family secrets she'll never know, and she finds a necklace, an engraved necklace hidden amongst her father's things. A surprise piece of the puzzle that finally falls into place. Her father wasn't just adopted, he was abandoned. But her father doesn't want to know anything, whereas Anna does. And I get why she does. She wants to find her identity, she wants to find that side of her family. But her father gets so upset, and that broke my heart a little bit, and I struggle with that. When you read it later on, you get why she does it, but that was a bit of a struggle for me. And you end up going to India, you end up going to Zimbabwe, and it's brilliant. The settings are amazing. The cultural side of it's brilliant. The family side of it's brilliant. And yeah, those things in this book are amazing, but that little trigger knocked it down a little bit for me. I'm going to let Mum read it, I think, see if she likes it. Yeah, it was good. Now to one that definitely is a contemporary. For a contemporary to be 4.5 stars is amazing. I'm just looking to see if there's any. None of the other books that are contemporaries, I don't think. Yeah, none of these other books are contemporaries. But this was my highest rated contemporary of the month, and that is The Wedding Dress by Danny Atkins. It was 4.5 stars. But God, it was good. It was so good. Effectively, it's 3 short stories. Suzanne, Bella and Mandy, and they're all held together by a wedding dress. and how they connect together is shown at the end of each of the story. And each of the stories are good. Suzanne's was good. Bella's was incredible. Mandy's was really, really good. And oh my god, I bloody love this. Yes, you can read this for the Spoonies, although I can't quite tell you why unless you want to know. But this does count for the Spoonies. Because the second story, there is something, yeah, you know, there's going to be some disability rep, but yeah, this is really, really good romance. It's a romance a little bit, but it's more about the wedding dress. And yes, I've never been married, and I struggle with that. Chris was never getting off his arse, but yes, we're not going to go there. Anyway, 3 short stories. Anna is engaged to the man of her dreams, except things aren't what they seem. Bella's life was on track until everything changed the night of a hen party. Bella's story has big triggers, and please be aware that that is probably one of the hardest hitting stories. So you have to be aware of that going in. But for me, it's my favourite out of the 3 of them. And then Mandy's grandmother has found love, but her family doesn't approve. That is a heartwarming story. And it's just a brilliant, brilliant book. Danny Atkins' work never disappoint me. She's amazing. This was a lot better than I expected it to be. Mum will definitely have to read that at some point. And now to my 5 stars. Yes, 2 of them are Women's Prize. This is everyone's favourite, Soldier Sailor. I don't know if it's my favourite of the Women's Prize books. I don't think it is. It's not my favourite of the Women's Prize, actually, at the moment. But it's my second favourite. So believe it or not, The Maiden's gone down to 3rd. Because the other 2 ones have beaten it. Soldier Sailor, everyone knows about this book. I won't talk about it too much. It's a wildly acclaimed book. It really is talking about postnatal depression, about a woman on the edge of motherhood. It's a stream of consciousness writing. It's an incredible book. Everyone has loved this. If this doesn't get shortlisted, I'll be very, very shocked. I don't know if Mum's... I'm going to keep it. I don't know where I'm going to put it yet, but I'm going to keep it. Don't think Mum wants to read it, but it is a very good book. And I think if you're a parent, especially if you're a mother, this will be an amazing book, but it will make you cry. Now to my favourite book that's the Women's Prize. Not quite my favourite book of the month, but very close. And this is Night Bloom. This is one that I've not heard many people talking about this one yet. I've not heard many... I think Jennifer loved it. I think Jennifer from Jennifer Reads, but Jennifer loved it. But I've not heard many people read it. I know Charlie wants to borrow it. And this is growing up in a Ghanaian town. We've got 2 cousins, Selassie and Akorfa. I can't say the name. They're more than just cousins. They were best friends. But then they shared everything, and then something happens. And you do have the 2 separate storylines of Selassie and Akorfa. Very different storylines, very different lives. Again, there are triggers in this. It's a very dark book. Very sad. It would be a gem. Gem's going to bloody love this. Gem from Gemma Books will love this. And I think Charlie will love it. I think Ange will love it. But it's years before their lives cross paths again, and they go on very different stories, and you think you know one thing about them, and you think when you read one of the cousin storylines, you can predict, and you get angry at the other cousin, but then when you hear the other cousin's side, you're like, oh, that makes sense. Flipping incredible book. Absolutely love this. This one I'm almost tempted to do. When the Women's Prize is over, I want to talk more about this, because it was just incredible. Then to another book that, again, I think all my 5 stars broke me into a million pieces. All of them made me cry. All of them killed me. Pachinko was the one. Pachinko was 5 stars all the way. It was Gem from Gemma Books. Absolutely loved it. It's a family saga. Starts off in the 1900s with a teenage Sanja, the adored daughter of a crippled fisherman, and she falls for a wealthy stranger, and she gets pregnant, and she ends up keeping her baby. So I think this is what's interesting. She ends up keeping her baby, but in the other book, as you well saw, that the child gets given up because she gets money to be given up the baby. This, she ends up keeping a baby, and all their lives are different, and it goes throughout all the generations. This is an incredible, incredible book. It's one I'm probably going to keep, although I don't know where I'm going to put it. Mum probably won't read it, but it's brilliant. It's an amazing book. I definitely recommend it to everybody. I'm keeping loads of these books. What the hell's going on? The next one is another one I'm keeping. It was Charlotte from Queenie Reads loved it. Angela from Reading Off My Shelf enjoyed it. This, again, shattered me into a million pieces. I really am torn between any of these 5 stars could be my favourite, but this was incredible. It's an Terrible Kindness, and you start off at the Aberfan disaster. And we all know about that. Obviously, if you're from the UK, you should know about the Aberfan disaster. It was where there was a landslide in Wales, and a lot of children got killed. A lot of people got killed, but it was mainly children that got killed. And you start off with this book. The lead character, William Lavery, he goes down. He's a embalmer, and he goes down to help embalmed bodies and help sort it out. And it does set up a load of triggers for him. But you go back to before the disaster, with William's story before the disaster, and then you go after the disaster and after how his life changes. Again, there are a lot of triggers in this, but this is an incredible book. It's so much more than just the Aberfan, but it does talk about how Aberfan affected people in different ways. So it's an incredible book. I'm 100% keeping it. God knows where I'm going to put all these books. I'm not getting rid of many, which has got to be a good thing. And then last but not least is my book that was up for my TBR jar. My TBR jar gave me a 5 stars. Yes! This is The Girl at the Window by Rowan Coleman. I'm going to let Mum read this. I don't know if Mum read. I don't know. I think I might just hide it on my shelf somewhere, hidden somewhere, because I want to read it. There is Bronte. Emily Bronte is in this. Emily Bronte is writing in this. Emily Bronte is in this. And this is there are some actual factual stuff. This is set in Haworth, where the Brontes are from. It's set in a real home that actually Emily Bronte went to. It's got mystery, it's got ghosts, it's got contemporary historical fiction. It has got everything I could ever wish for in a book, in one book, and I loved it. Jem, you have to read this. If you like the Brontes, if you like historical fiction, if you like contemporaries, if you like mystery, this is for you. It is incredible. Pick that up. I want to say no more, but you have to read that book. This video is going to be longer than I planned. Thomas is going to kill me. Now to the books that I'm adding to the TBR. And I will not talk about them too much because this is, like I said, a long video. So, with all these historical fiction depressing books, I need 2 contemporaries. They're the ones I got hope for. First one, Lucy Diamond, Me and Mr. Jones. It is 3 charming brothers. Which would you choose? Romance, Lucy Diamond. Fun is Mr. Jones, really Mr. Right. 3 very different brothers. 3 very different storylines. Izzy, Alyssa and Emma. I don't want to know any more than that. It's contemporary. It's about brothers. It's about siblings. It's romance. Look at the cute cover. Look at the fun, bright cover. It looks like a mini book. I have to read that. Another one that I have to read. Isabel Broom, who is an author I love. The Place We Met. So, this one. Lake Como, Italy. New Year's Eve. The perfect place to fall in love, or the perfect place for everything to fall apart. Lucy may have suffered her fair share of bad men, but now she has Pete, finally a man worth sharing her favourite place, Lake Como. That's if she can put the mysterious phone calls and glamorous ex-girlfriends out of her mind. Taggy is rushed off her feet, but destruction is exactly where she needs to forget why she fled England and the sadness she left behind. It looks like it's set abroad. It looks like it's New Year's. I don't know why I'm reading it now, but I thought it was a summer book. It looks beautiful. Romance, what I need. Then completely the opposite is an extra non-fiction that I'm adding for people admin. Joe Wilcott, Matron Knows Best, a true story of the 1960s NHS nurse. Love nursing, history, looks good. Had it a while, so it'll tackle that. Not too long, don't need any more. Does look really good. Then to again, I've gone very different. This is a apocalyptic kind of weird one that Jack from Spread Book Choice sent me. When the world is ending, who matters the most to you? The cats we meet along the way. Got the word cat in the title. It's had mixed reviews. I believe it won an award. Very short, very sweet, very YA. Aisha hasn't seen her sisters for a long time. 2 years ago, June left the family home and didn't look back, taking her pink hair and her strong, stubborn personality with her. But now time is running out and priorities have changed. With her boyfriend and his parents, as well as a stray cat called Fleabag, Alicia and Mac take the road trip across Malaysia in search of June, hoping to put the past to rest and hoping to come to terms with the present and maybe even find hope for the future. This looks good. Short and sweet. Add in that. Historical fiction that I know I'm going to love, and then I'll tell you the women's prize ones. The Cypress Maze by Fiona Valpy. Historical fiction. Love it. Part of it is set in Tuscany in 1943, and then the current timeline is 2015. It's got great characters. It's Beatrice is kept a wartime secret to protect her innocence. Could this be the bit that sets her free? Again, short and sweet. God, what I might even try and get more books read. I just want to crack down on my TBR. And then to the 2 books that won't be on my TBR, putting my TBR down because they are women's prize and they're library books. First one is Western Lane by Chetna Maru. This has had bad reviews online. But Alice from Alice and the Giant Bookshelf loved it. And I think Ross from Scallydangling About the Books loved it. It's short, it's sweet, it's less than 200 pages. It's a beautiful and moving first novel about grief, sisterhood, and a teenage girl's struggles to transcend herself. It's had bad reviews, but I don't know if I'm gonna like it. I think Alice thinks I might actually like this, so I'm gonna give it a go, and it's a library book. Then to the book that I will probably be reading next once I've read these physical ones, and that's, I'm gonna read that before I read my other books, and this is Brotherless Night by V.V. Ganeshna. Charlie read this and read it from the library. It's my library copy, so I don't know more, but I know Charlie loved it. It's 16-year-old Sashi wants to become a doctor, but over the next decade, while vicious civil war tears through her homeland of Jaffna, her dreams spin off course as she sees those around her, including her 4 beloved brothers and their friend, get swept up in violent political ideologies and consequences. Desperate to act, she must ask herself, is it possible to move through life without doing harm? This isn't very long, it's about 341 pages, but it looks amazing and it's one I really, really want to read. So, I'm trying to think about what emoji I'm going to do if you got to the end of this video. I'm thinking that it has been People April. Yeah, it's been People April this month. So if you got to the end of this video, do a person emoji. Any person, do a person emoji if you got to the end of this video. Let me know what you think of the books that I'm reading, what I've read. Let me know what you've been reading. I'd love to talk to you all in the comments. Hope you're all having a good reading month. Hope you're all doing well and sending all my love. Take care, everyone. If you like this video, by the way, give it a thumbs up. If you're new to my channel, not subscribed, ring on my ding-a-ling, and I'll see you all soon. Bye-bye.